What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Before I dive into it, guys, we are about to host a free masterclass in 3 days teaching you the 6 skills that you need to go full-time into trading or to get funded. This is not going to be one of those quote-unquote free webinars where I spend half the time trying to sell you something. This is 2 hours straight of no fluff, no BS, pure value. If you want to sign up, first link in the description box below. Otherwise, let's get into the video. Yesterday, if you remember, we talked about how Bitcoin, if there was one setup that was possible, it would most likely be this one that happened during the New York session. What I mentioned was to look for a confirmation of this turning into a bearish order block and then boom, right? That's when you get continuation. And if you guys head into the 5-minute chart, you guys can see exactly how this played out. Price break down below this, what would otherwise be the bearish order block, came back up to retrace into it once, twice, and then boom, off you go. This would have been a easy, 2-hour trade. And this was the opportunity for yesterday. If price starts closing below this one, then we have an opportunity later during the New York to actually take a trade continuation towards the downside. Now, I know you guys can see here that we had a very big reversal, but that does not fit in with the system that I'm using, where the majority of my trades, or rather all of my trades, are going to be taken within the Asia session, the London Open, and the New York Open. For me, I am staying in Asia, so I have no way of catching any moves that happen during the New York afternoon session, because it would quite literally be midnight for me. So going back onto the Twitter, yesterday we were sitting at 48 out of 60, and I think that puts our win rate up to 49 out of 61, which puts our win rate above 80% at the moment. So if you're new to this channel and if you're wondering if you're in the right place, this is the win rate that I've had over the past 3 months in terms of public YouTube calls. And currently we have over an 80% rate of being right. Not to say that I will never be wrong, but at least I'm right more than I'm wrong. Anyways, with that said, it is now time to get into the video. Now, if you also remember, yesterday I talked about the scenario that would need to happen in order for us to, start flipping bullish instead of, leaning towards shorts, which yesterday already played out. The scenario that I was talking about was that this block needed to be traded above in order to signal bullishness. In fact, you want to go above it quite convincingly. And in fact, price has given us an even better signal, because prices quite literally just went through it very convincingly. And now you have left behind a fair value gap that I believe is going to be the setup for today. Like when price gets into this level, right now it's 1 a.m. It's about an hour until the London Open kill zone. And in between the London Open kill zone and the New York kill zone, I think today is going to tap into this fair value gap and then start going higher. Basically, today is very likely to be a continuation day. One of the reasons I say that is that if you take a look at the higher time frame, first of all, we are already in bullish, like an overall bullish trend. And even if you look at the order flow, it is pretty bullish. And I did say yesterday that if there was one place where you would bounce, it would be through this bullish order block right here. And yesterday I also mentioned that in terms of the higher time frame, if there is one place you bounce from, it is here. And in fact, we got the bounce. And that is a really good sign, because this big green candle here gives us a really obvious trade opportunity, especially if you take a look at the daily chart. You have this liquidity level right there. So the setup for today is going to be so straightforward. Today is one of those high probability trading days where this is the daily open, and then you're going to go below the daily open, which price currently is right now. Any opportunities you find underneath the daily open is going to give you an opportunity to ride that to the high of the day before closing sometime during the day. So this is probably going to be the setup for today. If we go into the 1 hourly chart, what we do in the 1 hourly is to find areas of interest that will fit in with that narrative. And in this case, it is going to be this 1 hourly fair value gap right there. And so now that we have the area of interest, we just need to go into the 5-minute. And then once we reach a session, and this is going to be even more beautiful, like guys, I already see an A+ setup today forming, which is the fact that currently you are very close to the Asia lows, which means London is going to sweep underneath the Asia lows, fill in the fair value gap, and then New York is probably going to distribute towards the upside, with this being the target. So I'm not saying that you're just going to place a stop, like a entry, stop there and then target there. Like, yeah, sure, you can do that, but your risk to reward is not going to be the greatest. What is better to do is to wait for London to manipulate underneath the Asia lows, and then for the 5-minute to show you order flow confirmation, and then you can probably enter here, stop here, and then target here. You're going to have, double to triple the amount of risk to reward. So this, by the way, is the exact same setup that we've called over the entirety of this week, as well as last week. If you take a look here, London Open sweeps above the Asia highs, right? London is usually a session of manipulation. Once you get this, New York distributes towards the other side, and that is super straightforward. Here's another instance that we called last week during one of these videos. This is the Asia low, London sweeps below it, and then boom, New York distribution. Super, super clean. This is another one of those instances where price fills in. If you take a look here, this is definitely a 1 hourly fair value gap. Price sweeps the Asia low during the London session. So this is the session of manipulation. Once you sweep underneath the Asia lows, check out what happens next. New York distributes to the other side. In fact, the distribution actually begins during London. So that's going to be the setup that you want to look for today. At least for now, this is one of the most clear-cut signals that I've had the pleasure of trading over my multi-year trading career. And before I move on, I know that some of you might be thinking, okay, what about the bearish scenario? Because in this channel, one of the skills that I always advocate for is scenarios-based thinking. It's not about predicting what the market's going to do or like just saying straight up, oh, the market's going to do this or the market's going to do that. It's more of like, okay, preparing yourself for, any scenario that could happen. And if it does happen, then, you're prepared to take it. So what about the bearish scenario? In this case, for price to actually go bearish is very unlikely because first of all, you need to close underneath this block. And this block is already going to act as really strong support. One other thing you need to keep in mind is that overall in the higher time frame and in the lower time frame, we are in a bullish uptrend, which means that chances that you will start to, just shift into a downtrend is slim. Not to say it's not possible, but at the very least, you need to close below this block. So no worries about bearishness at the moment. Again, this is probably one of the higher probability days that I've seen so far throughout this week, and I'm definitely going to be trading this all the way up here. Now, the other last possibility that we have to consider is the fact that because yesterday was such a volatile day, today could just be kind of like an inside bar. But then this is where we turn towards news to kind of confirm if today is going to be an inside bar. And today, 2 p.m., we have federal funds rate, we have FOMC. So we have news. And so what this tells us is that there is very likely going to be volatility. And so, yeah. Guys, today, continuation setup, super obvious. Target's going to be right here at the previous daily high. Well, in fact, that's not the previous daily high. That's last Friday's high. And once you take that out, everything else is, anything can happen. So definitely, if you do take this trade here, then take your profit here and then watch what the market gives you. Chances are this target's going to be hit before 2 p.m. I have no idea though. Just see what the market gives you. And overall, if you enjoy these analyses from the smart money perspective, and if you would like to see more, I'm going to be making daily videos updating you on the situation and giving you guys trade ideas. Obviously, we have over 80% win rate. And so subscribe, turn on the bell notification. Otherwise, just a last little reminder. In 3 days, we have the masterclass. I look forward to seeing you in the masterclass. And quick note, for those of you who have been asking about how you're unable to sign up, just understand that you need to actually have a Zoom account in order to sign in, because if you click on the sign me up, it's going to just direct you to the Zoom link. Again, I'm very transparent about what we do. This is just a masterclass. I'm not trying to sell you something, whatever. It's, just trying to give you value. And if you see the value in this, sign up. Make sure you have a Zoom account. And if you want, feel free to join the WhatsApp group. That's where I'm going to be sending some behind the scenes kind of like sneak peeks and stuff like that leading up to the masterclass. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.